right, those of you on Zoom, welcome back. Let's get this thing started. So very quickly, let me just have one or two of you share a gratitude or a goal that you've written down. So any volunteers before I pick on you and you don't become volunteers. All right. Yesenia, yes.
I am thankful for the supportive family, friends, and mentors around me.
Okay, cool. So you're grateful for family, friends, and your mentors. I love it. Cool, great. Thank you for doing that. Derek, I love it. Did you volunteer or did you get volunteered?
I got volunteered.
That's cool.
But I volunteer anyway. I want to focus on relationship-based business.
Okay, cool, good. All right, I love it. Anybody else? Yearning, burning desire to say something? None?
Me, Chris Malamet?
Okay, good.
Or Lynette?
Lynette was doing this. Like, no, do not pick me. So she's next.
Yes, absolutely. I'm grateful for Morning Ascent and everyone being here and participating, and it just warms my heart, and I'm just so happy. So thank you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. You know, I've been doing this Morning Ascent for 13 years, and I have to tell you that it's not a dog and pony show. The reason we do it is because it's focused on some very key core components that I think that are important to anybody's personal growth and success, generally speaking, but also specifically to real estate, because we do take the time to work on affirmations, to work on reprogramming this computer here and making certain that any bugs that are in it, that we get those out, right? And also to make certain that we focus on the things that are going to be productive, because the average human being has 60,000 thoughts every single day, and the vast majority of those are negative. So taking the time to consciously say, no, I'm going to pay attention to some very positive things, the affirmations, the Napoleon Hill self-confidence formula, the 12 steps, and then taking the time to acknowledge the things that we're grateful for and the things that we want to accomplish. Gang, that's very unusual. The average person does not do that. It's the exceptional and extraordinary person that does those sorts of things. And how many of you are interested in not being average, right? You want to be exceptional, right? You want to be the person of passion that people look at and say, it is amazing what they accomplish. Well, the only way to do that is to behave in ways that are consistent with those who live exceptional lives, those who are passionate and are very mindful about the way that they think, because what we focus on ultimately is what we get. And so this is a way for us to really, in a very conscious way, consistently focus on ways to do the things and to behave in ways that successful people behave. It's not a mystery on what successful people do. It only is a mystery to those who ignore it or refuse to acknowledge it, or just simply don't have reasons to do it. And that's what's interesting. Here you are at 8 a.m. participating in an opportunity to work on your personal growth. And where's your competition right now? I mean, really think about it. Where are they right now? Be honest.
In bed.
They're probably still in bed. The very first question that most real estate agents ask when they get up and get into the office is, what's for lunch, right? They've skipped breakfast. They've skipped Morning Ascent. So the good news is that, you know, you're already significant strides ahead of your competition. So let's transition into the question that I asked myself this morning: what conversation we're going to have? And so I asked, what are the ways to generate business in today's market? Anybody interested in having that conversation? How can you generate business in today's market? Derek, interested?
Well, again, relationship-based business and reaching out to your SOI.
That is so important. So I wrote down 4 things we're going to talk about, and that was the 4th thing we're going to talk about. So if you're interested in that and wanting to know how to do that, then stay tuned.
All right.
Okay. All right. Look, gang, are these uncertain times? Anissa, are they uncertain?
Yes.
Okay. Interest rates have done what? Gone up a little?
A lot.
As a percentage, they've gone up dramatically. I've been in the business 30 years and I've never seen interest rates increase at the rate that they have over such a short period of time. It's true. Oh my gosh, John, don't say that. I mean, I'm new in the business, and hearing somebody like you who's been in the business for 30 years saying something like that makes me really unnerved. Anybody nervous about what they're seeing going on in the marketplace? Okay. Yesenia, Lynette? Okay. Derek, are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I say something to you? Say yes.
Yes.
Don't be. Do you want the good news?
Yes.
Okay. So Yesenia, you and I will meet afterwards and I'll give you the good news. Everybody else, I'll just give you the bad. Okay. Would you like the good news?
Yes.
The good news is that people are still going to buy and sell real estate regardless of what interest rates are doing. Say to me, ask me this question, John, how do you know that?
How do you know that, John?
Well, I know that because over 30 years of being in the business, I've seen interest rates as high as almost 9%. And guess what people were doing when interest rates were almost 9%? They were still buying and selling real estate. That's the good news. But I've also been alive long enough to know when interest rates were as high as 18%, right? I remember that. And guess what? You want the good news? The good news is people were still buying and selling real estate with interest rates at 18%. That's impossible, John. Why would anybody buy a home at 18%? And the answer to that question is because they need to. People need to live somewhere. And you're either going to rent or you're going to buy. But here's the thing. Either way, you're going to pay a mortgage. Either way, you're going to pay a mortgage. You're going to pay the landlord's mortgage or you're going to pay your own mortgage. And most people would prefer to do what? To pay their own mortgage. It makes sense, right? You pay down your mortgage, you get tax benefits, you get equity that accumulates in the home. So people are going to continue to buy and sell real estate because families grow, families get smaller, empty nesters, right? People get divorced, and in divorce, people have to what? Sell the home. People die, estate sells. People have financial challenges, they have to sell their home. People get job transfers and therefore have to move out of the area. In other words, life what? Life goes on. See, don't be the real estate agent who looks at all of these external factors like inflation, interest rates, the uncertainty. Are we in a recession? Not in a recession. And by the way, can I just give you some commentary? Say yes, because I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Yes.
There's a question about, are we in a recession? Are we going to be in a recession? What constitutes a recession? A recession is 2 consecutive quarters of GDP contracting. Gang, we're in a recession, period, end of story. But that doesn't matter. Those things we don't control. What we control, Derek, to your point is, are we going to pay attention to the relationships, specifically our SOI, but those people we don't know who over time are going to want to buy and sell real estate? Are we building relationships with them? And if we're doing that, I promise you, if you'll get in the way of people living their lives, and I say get in the way, meaning get in the way of their decision to buy or sell real estate, you're going to have plenty of business. Because here's the good news. In the past 30 years that I've been in real estate, the only period of time where I didn't have enough business was my first 4 years. And it wasn't because the economy was bad. It wasn't because there was uncertainty. It isn't because there was high inflation or that there were high interest rates, because all those things did exist. It was because I didn't stick to the fundamentals. I didn't do the things that were necessary in any market to be successful. The challenge is that over the last couple of years, especially the last, I'd say 12 to 18 months, the market was such a great market relative to interest rates that encouraged a massive amount of buyers to get in. And when you get a massive amount of buyers to get in, of course, it encourages sellers to put their home on the market because they can get what for their home?
Big money.
Yeah, ridiculous big money for the home. And so you see more homes get on the market. Well, even with those conditions, were there enough homes on the market to meet the buyer's needs?
No.
See, that's the unique thing about the market that we're in right now, is that still, even to this day, there are not enough homes on the market. Well, John, but wait a minute, though. We're seeing homes on the market longer, and homes aren't necessarily selling as quickly, and they're not selling for as high a price. We're seeing price reductions, which is all true, right?
Yes.
But the fact is, we're in a transitional market right now, and people are a little bit uncertain. So there are buyers who are sitting on the sidelines and sellers who are sitting on the sidelines. But things are starting to settle out. And I just mark my words that over the coming months, people's nerves will settle down and they're going to get back to business as usual, and life goes on. I promise you that. So it's not time for us to panic. It's time for us to pay attention to the ways in which we can generate business in today's market. So you're ready for my 4 items, my 4
Tell us,
notes?
John.
Okay, let's do it.
Do it.
Okay, number 1, write this down. Door knock. But door knock with value. Now, what does that mean? Door knock with value, John? Well, that's an interesting question. See, what you're trying to do is to establish a relationship with people who are trying to buy and sell real estate. It's important. You need to build a connection with them, but you also have to offer what? Because it's a business relationship. You have to offer value. Well, how do you offer value to somebody you don't know? Well, one of the best ways is to answer the $64,000 question. When somebody finds out that you're a real estate agent, what's the number 1 question that they ask you?
How's the market?
How is the market? Has anybody experienced that? When somebody finds out you're an agent, their question for you is what? How's the market? Now, do they ask that question, Yesenia, because they want to know if you're surviving, if you're making enough money? No, they're asking why.
They want to know where it stands.
Right, because either they what?
How it applies.
Yes, how it applies. How does it apply to them? Either they what? They own a home and they want to know, is their investment what? Or going down. Or they're interested in what? Buying. They want to be in the market. They want to have an investment in the market. So they're trying to decide, does it make sense for me to buy a home right now? Or if they own a home, is it a good time for me to what? To sell a home. So I want you to remember that when they ask that question, how is the market? It's a very self-interested question. So your job as a professional then is to make certain that you're what?
Informed.
Yeah, that you're informed and you're answering what? Answering that question. So if you know that that's the number one question that people give you when they find out you're a real estate agent, then why wouldn't you answer that question proactively, preemptively? Doesn't that make sense? Say yes.
Yes.
Makes sense. So what I'm suggesting is that you go out and you knock on doors and you be prepared to answer that question, how is the market? Now, what I would suggest is that you put together just a very quick flyer that answers that question. Now, how could you answer that question on a flyer? What would you put on a flyer that answers that question? I mean, you for quite a few months put together a flyer. What did you put on that flyer?
It was a market report update of the transactions that were happening within that specific area.
Right.
So the
So-
amount of homes that were on market.
So write this down. Listen to what she's saying, because I want you to do this. If you're going to answer the question preemptively for people on how is the market doing, then know how you're going to do that. So number one is how many homes are on the market.
Inventory,
So answer the question of inventory.
sold,
Okay, the number of homes that have sold.
days on market.
Okay, days on market.
But, which is normal, by the way. Now is a normal time for.
It
days on
is
market.
normal. See,
30
unfortunately,
days is
for
average.
this group, they're thinking that,
Yeah.
well, wait a minute, a day to 5 days seems to be normal. No, it's not. That is highly abnormal. Okay, so days on market. What else?
Average price sold.
Okay, average price sold. Okay,
With that, the prospective person behind the door will want to know if they're a potential seller, how they're gonna wanna know what their value is. So that's that's an opening conversation with them. Well, how much do you currently own on your property?
Right.
How long have you lived here? What's your ultimate goal? Do you wanna relocate? You know, that type of thing.
right.
So by finding out their equity, you can do an estimated seller's sheet.
Make sense? The other thing that I would put on there is interest rates.
Yep.
What are interest rates right now? Now, none of that means a lot to them unless you give them some perspective. Perspective is what? It's giving them more than just what's happening now. It has to be relative to what? To the way it was. So my suggestion would be that on a quarterly basis, you're putting together a report. That every quarter that you give them a report that shows them where those key performance indicators are those KPIs are today relative to 90 days ago. Because if you answer the question, where are those key performance indicators today relative to 90 days ago, it lets them know which direction the market is what? Going. Because that's really what they're asking, right? Has the market improved or has it gone down in the last 90 days? And in many ways, in terms of the key performance indicators, has it improved or gone down? Let's be honest, has it improved or gone down? Yeah, it's gone down. The average days on market, that's gone up, which means for sellers, it's taking longer. Homes, we're seeing more price reductions. We're seeing more homes expire, more listings expire. Interest rates have gone up, not gone down, right? But that's okay. It doesn't matter because we don't control those things. What we do control is our ability to get information to people so they can decide based upon their own personal circumstances, if it's best for them based upon what's going on in their lives, if it's time to what? To move, to buy or sell. That's it. Your job is to take a message to the marketplace and to do it with confidence. And I promise you, because life goes what?
On.
As long as you get to the people where life is going on and you build value and a connection with them, they'll choose you and you'll have plenty of business in this market regardless of what's going on. I promise you. 30 years of experience plus a perspective of what was going before that in the real estate market and the economy. Do you trust me?
Yes.
Good, you should. Good. Okay, so number one is to door knock and offer value. So come prepared answering those questions. Give them some perspective. Now, who would you door knock? Well, you could door knock just listed or just sold. What are just listed and just sold? Who are those people? Who would be just listed or just sold? Well, I'm glad I'm asking this question. Don't all of you answer at once. What is it just listed, just sold? Denise, answer for.
Houses that are just listed in, like, could be your farm,
Uh-huh.
or house that you just listed or just sold,
Right,
the surrounding area.
right. Or the company just listed or just sold, right? Or you have a buyer who's indicated they want to be in a neighborhood, right? And so you decide to start door knocking in that neighborhood
Circle prospect.
and just start knocking on doors in that area. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And just start having conversations with people about what? About what? This is a trick question. You already have the answer about what?
The market.
How is the market doing? So you would knock on the door, Derek, and you would say, hi, my name's Derek. I'm with Century 21. The number one question that my clients ask me, or people who find out that I'm a real estate ask me, is how is the market doing? So I've prepared this report that answers that question. Would you like to see how the market is doing? And of course, their answer is going to be what?
Yes.
Yes, thank you so much. And they could look at it at a glance and see, oh my gosh, yeah, it's interesting how things have changed. Look, there it was 90 days ago. Here's what it is today. Thank you so much for putting this together. And then as Chris said, to her point, to then segue into, so how long have you lived in your home? Oh, we've been here for 17 years. Oh, great. How did you happen to pick this area? Well, we wanted our kids to be in the school right across the street. Oh, that's great. Well, if you were to move, where would you move to next? Well, we probably moved to San Diego. Our kids have since long graduated. They actually have started a family. Our son lives down there. He has 3 kids, and we want to be close to the grandkids. Well, that's the very reason we need to get together. What works best for you in afternoon and evening, where we could talk about what your home is worth and how long it would take you to get to San Diego. Well, we could meet in the evening. Great. Does that make sense? You say, well, John, it doesn't happen that way. Well, no, it doesn't happen that way every time. But if you have that conversation enough, will it happen? Say yes. But you have to have the what? You have to have the conversation. So in other words, you have to what? You have to door knock. So that's one way you can generate business in today's market. The second way is this, write it down. Open houses. Open houses. Done the right way. Not just doing open houses, but doing them the right way. Now we don't have time today to talk about how to do open houses the right way, because there's a lot of information in that. But Russ Orchard, who's taking care of the technology today, thank you, Russ, by the way, does a superb class in peak training on open houses. And what I would suggest is that you go onto YouTube and look up his class on how to do an effective open house. He'll show you how to do that, because open houses can be a monumental waste of time. They can be a monumental way of generating a lot of fantastic leads. It all depends upon not the market, but how you're actually doing. Does that make sense? So look at open houses, but you got to watch Russ's class on that. You can get that online. Number 3, write this down. Call buyers who gave up due to the low inventory. Call buyers who gave up due to low inventory. Have we been struggling the last couple of years, specifically the last 18 months to 12 months with low inventory?
Yes.
Right? Were there a lot of buyers that you were working with who got frustrated?
Buyers were
They
frustrated.
were very frustrated. There were buyers who got out of the market saying, I'm frustrated, I'm tired. Every time I make an offer on a home, that there are 15 offers and we're offering more than ask price, and we're still not getting the home. We waived the inspection, we waived the appraisal, we increased the earnest money, and still we did not get the home. Did you see that? Did you experience that? Say aye. Okay. So is the market different?
Yes.
Is there an opportunity for those buyers to come back in and not face that sort of competition,
Absolutely.
right? An opportunity where they don't have to compete with 15 people or even 1 or 2. They can be the only bidder on the home, which means that the seller is going to be more pliable, more likely to negotiate on terms, which is really important because interest rates have done what? They've gone up. But that's not so bad, because sellers may be interested in what? Providing some seller paid closing costs, some credits, right? Also, lenders have come out and promoting their what? Adjustable rate mortgages.
40-year mortgages.
40-year mortgages. There are ways in which buyers can reduce their cost of borrowing so that the impact of increasing interest rates isn't as significant as they might otherwise think. But it's our job to what? We got to educate them. We got to bring that message to them. So we should be calling them and letting them know, hey, this is a great time. Yeah, but interest rates have gone up, Lynette. It doesn't make any sense because they were at 3.5% and now they're at 5.5%. Oh yeah, but wait, there are great ways to buy down the rate. Sellers to pay closing costs. You can get an adjustable rate mortgage. You can get a 40-year mortgage where you can actually bring your costs for money in line with what they were when interest rates were at 3.5%. Well, I didn't know that. Well, that's the very reason we need to sit down and talk about what you're looking for and what your actual cost would be to see if it makes sense for you. What works best for you, an afternoon or an evening? Well, evenings would be best. Great. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so it does for you. Does that make sense for the rest of you? Perfect. Any questions or thoughts?
Just a
Yes.
thought, if you guys don't know about, now is the time to be creative, and if this is overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, I can't talk about interest rates and the different programs, that is why it's so imperative for you to have a relationship with a really good loan officer. So we're really fortunate that Inspiro is here and make an appointment with them. And Felicia's fantastic. She is so creative. And there's so many different platforms that are available to buyers.
That's such a great point. Call her up and say, hey, so if I were to talk to a buyer today, what are the things you can share with me that would make sense for them that they would decide to actually buy a home today, despite the fact that interest rates have gone up? Talk about your loan programs, right? Talk about the various ways in which you're seeing agent structure deals so that the seller can cooperate, participate in some of the borrower's costs so that it makes sense for them to buy a home today, so they can actually still afford to buy a home. In other words, it goes back to what Derek said. You have to be informed. You have to have the information so that you as a leader can take that information to the public, to the consumers, so that they feel comfortable in the idea of buying or selling a home. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So let me just say this, there are arms, there are seller paid closing costs. There are lower sales prices in today's market, and there's less competition. All reasons why a buyer should re-enter the market. And then the last thing in terms of ways to generate business in today's market, Derek said it in the very beginning, it's what?
SOI.
It's your SOI. It's your sphere of influence, okay? We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I want to give you a very quick outline. It is so interesting that I have watched agents over the last 30 years, whether they are experienced, been in the business for decades, or they're brand new, who ignore this source of business. And there are various reasons why, but I think the number one reason that I find, Yesenia, is that people are afraid to reach out to people they know for various reasons. One of the reasons is that they feel like they're begging for business, right? Or, well, they don't know me as a real estate agent. They knew me as this, and I don't feel like I have the authority or the reputation to go to them confidently and talk about how I can help them buy or sell real estate. So therefore, I'm going to avoid those conversations, and I'm just going to try to find new people I don't know. Anybody relate to that? Have you had those thoughts? It's very normal, right, Derek? Go ahead. You had something to say about it. You look like you were going to say. Okay, but that's very normal. But can I just say something about that? Thank you. Yesenia is getting the routine here. It's very selfish, and that's all about you. That's very self-focused, because you're worried about what people are thinking about you and how they're going to respond. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So stop being so self-focused. Do you know enough to help somebody buy and sell real estate?
Yes.
You do. That's why you have a real estate license. The state of California has deemed you qualified to help people buy and sell real estate. So you know how to do it. So stop worrying about what they're thinking. Because when you do that, you're focused not on them and their best interest, but you're focused on yours. And the problem that is that it doesn't help you at all. It's very destructive. Because what is best for you is that you go out and you help other people, you inform them, you educate them, and help them feel comfortable in their decision, whether it's to not buy or to buy. Either one's okay. You're just looking for enough people who want to what? Buy or sell. So focusing on your sphere of influence. These are people who already like, trust, and respect you. They do. And if they don't, they shouldn't be in your what? They shouldn't be in your sphere. But don't look at the list of people that you know and say, well, I wouldn't call them because I'm afraid about how they would respond. Again, you're focused on you rather than them. Okay. So how do you work with your sphere of influence? Let me give you a very quick rundown on how to do this. And there are plenty of videos online that Russ teaches, and we can certainly talk more about it. But how do you work with your sphere of influence? Number one, reach out to them on a quarterly basis. Phone call. Everybody gets a quarterly phone call from you. Person to person phone call, just to check in. Hey, Lynette, this is John. Hey, John, how are you doing? Great. Hey, just want to check in to see how the family's doing. Oh, we're great. How's life? Have you gone on your vacation this summer? Oh, yeah, we just got back from Hawaii. Oh, that's right. You said you were doing that. How was it? It was fantastic. It was beautiful. Not a single day of rain. That's awesome. Now, which island did you go to? We went to Kauai. Oh, I love Kauai. Good for you. That's great. You're probably excited about the kids going back to school. We're getting pretty close to that. We are very excited about that. Well, it's great. Well, hey, listen, I don't know if you know this. I'm in real estate. Well, of course I know that. Well, do you need any help right now with anything relative to real estate? Nope, I don't. Would you happen to know anybody who's interested in buying or selling real estate? Nope, I can't think of anybody. Well, if you ever do, Lynette, let me know because I'm here to help them. Great. Well, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Maybe we'll see you again at the park. Yep, we'll see you then. Okay, bye. Simple, right? Say yes.
Yes.
So you're not giving a presentation. You're just simply having a what?
Conversation.
Just having a conversation. Be normal. I know it's hard as a real estate agent to think about being normal. Somehow we think that we have to be abnormal. Don't be abnormal. Be normal. Have a conversation. Call them on a quarterly basis. That's number one. Number two, send them a market update on a quarterly basis. So remember that market update we talked about that Chris kind of outlined in terms of the KPIs, those key performance indicators, answering the question of how's the market. You remember that? For door knocking, you remember that? Okay. I want you to take that and I want you to mail that out to your sphere of influence on a quarterly basis. In other words, inform them, preemptively answer the question, how is the market? And if you're doing that consistently, Lynette, you'll become the authority on what the market's doing. So when they do think about buying or selling real estate, or they have questions about buying or selling real estate, and you've done that consistently in informing them, and you've made your quarterly call to check in with them and say, hey, did you get that quarterly report? Who are they most likely going to think of when it comes to buying or selling real estate? When they have a friend or a family member who is interested in buying or selling real estate, who are they likely going to call? Right. Or when you pick up the phone and say, hey, do you know anybody? They're more likely to say, yes, I do. My neighbor just mentioned that. Because at this point, they know that you're the person who has the information, is the authority, who is the professional that they can go to, and their neighbor can go to, or their family member can go to, where they trust you that you're going to do the right thing. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. So number one, we're going to what?
Quarterly phone calls.
Quarterly phone calls. Number two?
Market update quarterly.
Yeah,
basis.
you're going to mail that to them on a quarterly basis, right? And then number three, what I want you to do is on a monthly basis, send them an update on how is the market through snail mail. Not snail mail, through email. So email them, which means you'll have to have their what?
Email
You have to have the email.
address.
Well, John, I don't have the email address. Well, what a great reason to call them.
Yep.
Hey, Yesenia, I was going through my information on all of my friends and family members and clients, past clients, and I noticed that I don't have your email address. So if I could, let me get that from you. What's your email address? Right. There you go. And then I add it. And then I make certain that they're on my distribution list for that monthly update on how the market is doing. Well, John, but wait a minute, you're already giving them the quarterly update on how the market's doing. I know that's every 90 days. But does the market change quickly sometimes?
Yes.
Is it changing quickly right now?
Yes.
Right. And do people want to know more often than maybe 90 days, especially when the market's changing quickly?
Yes.
So therefore, why not send them something on a monthly basis that gives them an update? Same key performance indicators, but instead of it being a 90-day cycle, it's a what day cycle?
30.
It's a 30-day cycle. Does that make sense, Derek?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last thing is this, making certain that on an annual basis, you're doing 2 to 3 client appreciation events annually. So whether it is a pumpkin patch in the fall, which we're likely going to be doing, right, where you can invite your agents or your clients to come to get a pumpkin to participate in the events, right? Or you do like a reverse pop by where you have them come at at Thanksgiving or Christmas time to pick up their holiday pie. So not where you're delivering to all of your SOI. You select those who are going to get an invitation and they come to the office and they pick up their holiday pie. Does that make sense? Say yes.
Yes.
Makes sense, right? All of this is about having the business maturity. I want you to think about this, having the business maturity to not focus on yourself, to focus on them and what's in their best interest, right? And to respect the relationship. Your job is to connect with people and to grow that relationship, or to reconnect with people and to grow that relationship and to maintain that relationship. You're the professional. Is there a better person to help the people you know and love to buy or sell real estate? Is there a better person than you?
No.
So why would you let them have that possibility of somebody else helping them buy or sell real estate when you know you're the best person to help them buy or sell? The answer is what? You wouldn't. As long as you're doing your what? Job.
It's a job.
It is a job.
And you have to be their Google. You are their Google page.
Yep. You answer every question relating to real estate. And if you are there consistently through the quarterly report that is emailed, through the quarterly call, through the monthly email, giving them that update and doing those client appreciation events, 2 to 3 a year, you will be consistently on their mind so that when they do decide to buy or sell, or when they know somebody who's going to buy or sell, they're more likely to reach out to
you.
Or when you do reach out to them, because you're reaching out to them multiple times during the year, it's more likely that they're going to mention that they are what? They're interested in buying or selling real estate. And that's all we're here to do, gang, is to help them in their need of buying and selling real estate. That's it. You're not asking for a favor. It's not a charity. You're offering value. And people are okay in a business relationship when they like, trust, and respect you, and you offer what? Value. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Any thoughts or questions? Any amens? Hallelujah.
Woo!
Okay, cool. All right. So stand up and let's finish this up with some closing affirmations. And those